Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, Daniel Emmons.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good, bud. How are you?
Oh, not bad.
Nice.
Hanging out, being groovy.
Happy to have you here to hang out and be groovy with me. You guys, if you should check out Dan's work. He's a member of one of my favorite sketch teams here in Los Angeles, Night Church.
Yeah.
Great. As a recently converted fan of horror movies, Night Church tickles all of my fancies because it's horror comedy.
Yeah.
It's great.
We're just doing Ghostbusters.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
We've kind of changed the focus a little bit to being more like genre sketch is what we call it. Mm-hmm. So it's not just horror movies now. It's like just a love of all movies, but it tends to be more horror.
Right. Well, horror's the easiest thing to hop into, and I think it's funny we were talking about this movie today that you've come on to defend, not to hate, because it's a movie that feels like it's really trying. It's sort of like it's trying to create its own genre a little bit, and it's Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
And this and Street Fighter, two insane video game movies where they basically just took the idea of a video game and tried to turn it into this whole world and make sense of something that doesn't even really exist within the storylines of the games.
I mean, you're trying to make sense of something that already is batshit insane. Street Fighter, at least, is a little bit, I don't want to say grounded, but it makes more sense. Like a fighting tournament. And that stuff.
Sponsored by like a secret, a terrorist organization led by a dictator.
Yeah, that's trying to take over the world through street fighting.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But when you're talking about Mario Brothers, it's like this dude who goes down a pipe and ends up in another world that's run by a princess who has mushroom people. And it's just an insane premise to begin with.
Right.
And then you decide to turn it into this gritty movie.
Right.
Cyberpunk movie.
I remember reading on the Wikipedia page about this movie because I've never seen Super Mario Brothers. And so
you're welcome.
The fact that you want to come on and defend it boggled my mind from the jump. And then I watched it and was reading they were like, we're doing the new brutalism. We want to make this its own.
Yeah.
We're creating a society here. We're creating a new genre. We're making this new art because it has very little to do with the actual Mario Brothers games.
Yeah.
It doesn't take place in the Mushroom Kingdom.
No.
There's no Princess Peach. Bowser is a guy. It's just a guy played by Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense.
I love it.
There's characters that are introduced who never exist in Mario games.
Which characters were not?
Big Bertha.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I think Big Bertha was supposed to be Birdo.
Oh, really?
Like, don't quote me on that, but like, I think she was supposed to be a Birdo.
Okay. If Rocky Morton or Annabelle Jankel are listening to this, please let us know what the fuck. Just let us know what the fuck what's supposed to be happening in this movie. This is insane. Why do you want to defend Super Mario Brothers?
Because I enjoy it so much. Like, if people can defend The Room or Troll 2, I feel like I can defend Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
Just because it's more fun than it is good.
That's true.
It's a fun movie, and I especially love watching people watch this movie. Like, I'm kind of upset that I was not there to watch you watch this for the first time.
Man.
we did a showing at the theater that we do stuff at here in Hollywood, the Pack Theater. Where we showed this to somebody who had never seen it. And the whole time he was just like, what is going on?
That was basically me on the couch for the entire movie.
It was just like, what? What?
It's it starts out super weird, and it's just the foot on the gas of insanity the whole movie.
Starts out with a narration by Dan Castelletta.
And they spell his name wrong in the credits.
May have been intentional. Almost everybody everybody in this movie has disowned this movie.
Yeah.
Like Bob Hoskins, like on interviews is like
it's the worst thing he's ever done.
It's like if there's one thing you could go back in time and not do or change, what would it be? Not work on the Super Mario Brothers movie. Mm-hmm. John Leguizamo has kind of pedaled back a little bit,
right?
Because he said, "I'm glad you guys appreciate it on the anniversary Blu-ray," and they did. There was a petition to make this into Blu-ray. I am not alone on liking this movie.
He says he's proud of it in retrospect. Which I guess Dennis Hopper hated it.
Dennis Hopper hated it. What I also just love about this movie is there's just kind of like a fuck it about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear that Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo are drunk off their ass through most of this. Because that's what they would do. In between takes, they would go and do trailer scotch, where they would just drink scotch in their trailer, come and do the scene. And they were mostly despondent because they didn't know what the next scene was that they were filming. This movie was literally being rewrote as they were filming it, which is great. I like that. I like that experimentation of that.
It's like jazz.
Yeah, it's the jazz of movies.
Yeah, you're playing with the movie that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I've never seen. Now that we have the ability to watch things, I'd love to watch the trailer for this movie because I've never seen
the trailer.
I can only imagine what they did in this movie to make it seem like it had any sort of comparison to regular Mario Brothers.
I think I want to say the trailer did have some of the music into.
Okay.
Like, dun 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 dun.
Because the start of the movie makes it seem like they're gonna go. I think they do like the sort of like Nintendo Game Boy starting up sound effect, and then they have some clips throughout the whole movie that are like, oh, this is clearly you're pulling from the soundtrack, but it doesn't. It just let's watch this trailer. I can't imagine what they have going on. Oh boy. Can't hear anything on this one, but it's just them jumping through the pipes. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we got it.
And it's. I like it that it's the 90s.
Yes, it's very. Because this came out before Street Fighter, right? Street Fighter, I think, was 94.
Yeah, I was in Wyoming at the time, so I was in Michigan, I think, when this came out.
Okay, yeah, this is 93.
Wyoming, yeah.
Did you see that? You saw this in theaters?
No, I did not actually see this in theaters. I wanted to.
What was the first time you saw this like?
We rented it from like a Blockbuster or something like that, or Myers. I want to say we rented it from a Myers in Michigan.
Oh, I didn't even know Myers did video rentals.
Yeah, back in the day.
There.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We rented it, watched it on the VHS, and like, I didn't even hate it as a kid. There was definitely like, what the fuck is this? This isn't a toadstool.
Yeah, it's just a guy.
Yeah.
They didn't even shave his head correctly to make it look like he was Toad.
Yeah, Mojo Nixon was Toad.
That's the name of the actor?
Yeah, he's like a famous psychedelic rock guy, or like a psychobilly, I think, guy.
It's like the Flea of that time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Mojo Nixon.
Mojo Nixon, that's my favorite name. Oh man, who was it? I like that there was is it Fisher Stevens?
Yeah, Fisher Stevens is Iggy.
Yeah. Like, he's the guy who just kind of popped up in everything. He was the dude who did brown face in Short Circuit 2, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I believe he was.
Short Circuit 2 also, like, in retrospect, very problematic movie, but as a kid, I loved it.
I've never seen any of the Short Circuit franchise.
It's
one of the great. I've skipped it all.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of bad movies because I also like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which I know a lot of people are getting around to liking now, but like I liked it back like in the 90s when people were like, "Oh, that movie was such a disappointment." Like, the hell with you. This movie's great.
Right.
You got robots, you got time travel, you got a Martian. So great.
You know, back to Mario Brothers. I can see why it's obvious why this movie is looked back on and reviled.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so obvious because it does the same thing that Street Fighter is doing, where it's completely ignoring everything that makes the video games that people like, and people can't, because people are fans. When you get fans of a franchise involved, we see this now with comic book movies all the time. When you have fans that you are deliberately not catering to when you're making something that is based on a pop culture thing, you're gonna cause problems. And then because there's so much in this movie, it starts out with narration.
Yep.
We didn't even get into the plot. It starts out with narration about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because they don't go into Mushroom Kingdom.
No.
The whole movie takes place in Dino Hatton.
Yeah. Because I think they were basing it off of Super Mario World, which takes place in the Dinosaur Kingdom.
Right, yeah.
Instead of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Because that's where Yoshi is.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that was my biggest complaint about the movie was Yoshi.
Yoshi is so. I mean, my biggest. He's unsettling.
It's unsettling, and also like nobody rides him.
No,
he's not big enough to ride.
He's definitely not big enough to ride.
Also, it's just he's unsettling, and like you can tell that they spent the budget everywhere else,
right?
Except for like on the dinosaurs. So it's like we got three scenes we can use him in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no,
because there's a lot of stuff in this movie, like the Goombas. Another thing that doesn't make the Goomba. They don't make sense.
Yeah, they don't even make sense in like the plot of the movie or the logic of the movie.
Right.
It's like, oh, we're going to de-evolve just their heads.
Yes. Because that's where the rest of it comes from.
Yeah. Also, evolution does not work that way.
Yeah. Also, how come when they evolve Iggy and Spike, their heads don't grow in size?
Yeah, or
to have bigger brains,
or anything else.
Right.
Like they're not a future version of what the ultimate. What is it? What are they called?
The Dino people.
Yeah, the Terra.
I don't know.
Or
there's by the way, just on a complete sidebar, my favorite parts of this movie, because there's a lot of writing in this movie. There's a lot of the script that's just dog shit.
Yeah.
But there's one part where I laughed out loud. It's a really solid joke when they come in, the brothers are arrested and taken to Dinosaur Police Station. And they meet with it's a sequence that doesn't make any logical sense. They meet with President Koopa, Dennis Hopper, who's pretending to be a lawyer, and he says something like, I'm from Liza Dactyl and Cohen. And I was just like, this is the perfect. It's such a great joke. It's such a great law firm joke. But then immediately after that, he's like, "Oh, I'm actually President Koopa," and they're like, "Why would you lie to us?" And then it doesn't make any sense.
Also, the what is it? The mugshot thing where it looks like a firing squad.
Yeah. Oh my God. Why you gotta make? Listen, I can buy trying to have a hip version of Mario where like he goes down into the pipes and he has to face off against. Yeah, okay, I can logically.
Yeah.
you have to take a couple leaps, but it's like, okay, I understand why you get Dennis Hopper to play Bowser, to play President Koopa. And it's this weird, like, Dinosaur Land thing. If you're basing it off of Mario World, sure, I can buy that. But why do you also have to have the layer of, like, this is a crazy dystopia in, like, an alternate future where they have, like, cars riding on the power grid.
Yeah.
And there's, like, a strip club that they go to midway through, and there's go-go dancers, and there's spiky lingerie. You're trying to do too much. You can't make it dark and gritty. Mario is not the vein to go down if you're going to do live action Mario at all.
Yeah.
It just boggles my mind.
I love it for all that. I love it for all of that. It's just an affront to logic. And I don't know. It's like there's this thing where, like, I will logically think about movies and stuff when I'm watching them, and it can pull me out of a movie very easy.
Right. Well, because most movies, if you think about it, that's something I've learned over the course of doing this podcast. If you can pick apart anything if you try hard enough.
Oh yeah, the internet regularly does that.
Right.
Almost any think piece about a movie.
Exactly.
But with this, like, even as an adult, rewatching it as an adult, there's just something about it in my brain that's just like, oh, you can shut off your brain and just enjoy this.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about this logically whatsoever because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it exists in crazy world.
Yeah.
There's no sense from the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah. And I can just sit there and watch these great actors make the best choices they can do in an absolute shit movie.
Right. Because that's the other thing. I loved watching Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper just take giant mouthfuls of scenery.
Yeah.
And not... It's so clear that they knew better than the directors on this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think that based on everything I've read, if it's a total shit show from start to finish, and the directors don't really know how to work with actors.
Yeah.
And so
they're
giving them all this direction, clearly, that they're just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah. And it was two directors who did not communicate with each other either. Mm-hmm. So one actor would be told one thing, and then the director would walk away, and the other director would come up and tell him totally opposite.
Right. And so I love watching them have to exist in this bad world that they're kept into.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's just it's almost heartbreaking. Cuz you can tell that they want to bust out and do something better and try to, like, make choices that kind of make some semblance of logical sense.
Yeah.
But they're just not allowed to.
No.
Cuz they're get fired if they do.
Or they've already signed up for the
right,
thing, and they're like, fine, whatever. Also, Fiona Shaw, I think that's who it was.
Who's playing Daisy?
No,
right?
That was Samantha.
Oh, that's Samantha Mathis. Fiona Shaw is
another
character who I don't think exists in Mario.
No, she was
Lena.
just like she was like the side, like the second in command for Koopa.
Yeah, she's like his his vice president, I guess. I don't really know, because she's also trying to take over. She's trying to run a coup and take the meteorite piece. This doesn't make. I don't understand.
Oh
it.
no, she wants to be the special one to bridge the worlds. I think was that.
That's
but she does a fantastic job in this movie, despite, like, she's really acting like she's really playing serious. She's a great actress in her own right. I forget what else she's done.
Lena Smith. Let's see what else she's done. Or sorry, Fiona Shaw. Lena Smith. Who am I inventing to be in this movie as it goes on? Fiona Shaw has been in she's Petunia Dursley in Harry Potter. She's been in Fleabag. She's been in Killing Eve.
Yeah.
She won BAFTA award for Killing Eve. She's been in all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, she's great. on her own, and she does give it her good college try. But then you definitely see there are parts in there where it's like, oh, this is just camp.
Yeah.
And she just plays it bigger. Like, does the lizard thing, like the lizard movements and stuff.
It's got some good, but that's... I wish that they would write in the script stuff that made at least a little bit of sense or not immediately contradict what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that I noticed happened constantly in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like with Big Bertha, they're like, oh, she's the bouncer at this bar. But then you get there, she's not in any kind of uniform.
Nope.
The only sign that we get that she's a bouncer of any sort is that she's like throwing somebody out and punching people.
Yeah.
That's her big thing, by the way. She's just punching everybody. She's punching dudes, she's punching ladies. And then she gets all dancing all up on Bob Hoskins, which doesn't make any sense. The bouncer would not be allowed on a dance floor to not dance with a customer. How dare you?
And then
also, how does she not notice that he's clearly going for the necklace, which has a heavy gem sitting on her the whole time?
And then after all that, she's like, "Call me." Mm-hmm. You know, it's like gives him that big kiss, and then like, yeah, it's insane. It's, like that makes no sense.
You can tell that, but that's the thing. It's like, all right, how are we going to introduce that these guys can jump really high? Oh, because she's got boots that are like jetpack boots. That she also, I don't know why, the directors clearly were like, all right, you're not going to react at all when these boots activate. So just pretend that nothing is happening as we chroma key you back in with you jumping a great distance. It's insanity, man. Did we ever get the audio working back in the thing? No. Let's try. I would like to see just the trailer, even if we can't hear it. I just want to be able to see what they tried to do and just imagine what it could be like. Because, yeah, see, look, they're doing something. What they're going all in with the crazy dark. This is like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
This is like Blade Runner Mario.
They're brothers.
Which makes sense because what is it, Jenkins and Morton? Mm-hmm. They directed a bunch of Max Headroom stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've seen that.
Like this was literally their last movie too.
They're doing a lot of stuff. Yeah, they're showing a lot of stuff from the end of the movie.
Yeah,
they're showing a lot of very exciting sequences. A lot of Dennis Hopper yelling. Dennis Hopper, and yeah, that whole scene where they're in the sewers and the pipes, and you see her face shining through. It doesn't. There's just so little in this movie that makes any kind of sense. They're Mario Brothers.
I do like the weird little nods that this movie does to the Mario games. Like, if you notice the thing that King Koopa... oh, man, that's horrible font. King Koopa does the... in that, like, metal thing that he's hanging from, that he gets shot with the de-evolver ray.
Yeah.
And comes out, like, the gritty version of King Koopa.
Right.
It's like supposed to be the thing that he floats around in at the end.
At the end of Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. I buy that.
And then they use the Nintendo gun controller to
select
pizza.
To order pizza. Oh my God! The fact that they come back and they're like, "Wait, your pizza just got here."
Yeah.
Why is that even a subplot?
Also, the de-evolution gun was also meant to be I believe a cross promotion with the SNES Super Scope.
Yeah, because that's
what that is. It's a Super Scope.
There's so much in this movie that like I couldn't have come up with a movie this bad if I tried. Like I can't imagine. Do you think that anybody involved in making this movie had ever played a Mario game? I don't think so.
John Leguizamo
probably.
Yeah.
But even he was like, I don't think anyone top of the line on the creative side, any of the producers, any of the writers, neither of the directors, I don't think any of them had ever played a Mario game before. They just, because they're making choices that just because Mario and Luigi eat mushrooms to go better doesn't mean you need to make helpful fungus. But you're Deus Ex Machina for this movie, where he's just dropping. That fungus has dropped us a bomb. Oh, should we take that? No, I don't think so.
Hey Mario, I think the fungus is trying to help
I think
us.
the fungus is trying to help. They never eat any of the mushrooms in the movie.
Yeah.
That's just it doesn't make any sense.
Also, wait a minute. Why if they're getting de-evolved, if they go from being lizard people, why is the de-evolution of that not lizards? Why is it fungus? Why is it fungi? well, he went back further.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Also, it doesn't make sense that Koopa's evolved from the T-Rex, but everybody else has evolved from something else.
Right.
Like, that's not how evolution works.
But again, to the credit of the actors who are putting this garbage together, Dennis Hopper the whole time is doing T-Rex arms. He never moves his arms away from T-Rex position. It's great. It's just, it's total batshit insanity.
It's insanity.
And
I just really love the aesthetic look that they made in this. I think it would have been a better movie in general if it was not a Super Mario Brothers movie. Like if it was just like the plot was like these two guys get sucked in to another dimension that's batshit insane, it might be slightly better, but I don't think I would like it as much if it wasn't.
Right. Because that's, I think, part of what makes this movie so charming, I guess, is the right word for it, is that it is a Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
It's a Mario Brothers movie, granted that Nintendo is like, yeah, we're good. We don't need to have any sort of involvement in this. We're going to let you guys have creative control.
Yeah. I don't think they had the clout to have any control on it. At the time. Yeah,
they were like, well, they said they had no interest in it, but they were like, the Mario brand is strong enough for us to give this a shot, but we want nothing to do with the actual development of the movie.
But this was this thing that Nintendo was like, we're just gonna keep control of our stuff.
Right. We're gonna do things our way.
Yeah.
And you take our sweet son Mario and you do with him what you want. Yeah. But we're gonna divest ourselves from this.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing too. It's like this is part of my favorite parts of the lore of this movie, because I was reading about it after the fact. So the original screenplay was written by the guy who wrote Rain Man.
Yep.
And they called it Drain Man in production because it was basically the same plot of Rain Man. And they were like, it's a study. Barry Morrow says it's a study in contrast, like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello. And they got rid of it because the original story was more of a serious drama piece as opposed to a comedy. Where's the drama of Super Mario Brothers? I kind of want to see that. I would love to read this original draft.
Yeah, I would like to read that draft, and I want to read the Ed Solomon draft.
Yeah, because the Ed Solomon draft is...
Again, I'm a huge fan of Ed Solomon. I mean, I loved Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, too.
I've only seen the original Bill and Ted. I got to see Bogus Journey.
Yeah. He wrote both. I love Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted 1's great. Yeah. Is he writing the third one?
Yeah.
Good.
He's
bringing it back. I like it. Yeah, that's the thing. They're really going through this movie. They're trying to keep it a dark tone because they loved what Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did before too. And there's something so... It really is, I guess charming is the only word that really comes to mind. It's like they're really trying, they're really going for it. And I can appreciate how deep they went into trying to make this just a crazy, sort of like cyberpunk world.
Yeah. This movie, to steal a quote from Scorsese, is a thrill ride.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of cool action set pieces in this movie. I mean, granted, a lot of that also the protagonists have no direct involvement in. They're just there along for the ride as much as the audience is.
It's a ride.
They literally spend a good chunk of a car chase not driving a car because they drive on top of a car and that car drives away. And they're just sitting there.
I just love it.
Also, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna point out that like the also they drive out, they finally get out of the world, and you find out the rest of the world is barren, and all that exists is that little city.
Yeah,
At
that's
the top.
it, and then it's just desert after that.
It's like they need we need a motivation for the lizards to want to merge back. Oh, what if they just get the Danny DeVito of worlds where we live in the Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm making a Twins reference here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they almost had Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie too, so it fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny DeVito could have been Mario, and they also offered him the directing role, which would have been great. I would love to see the Danny DeVito directed version of this. Just make it like Matilda, it's fun.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman expressed interest in portraying Mario.
But that was in the Drain Man.
Right.
Edition.
Yeah, it was Train Man version. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Keaton were both approached to play Koopa, but turned down the role. Tom Hanks was considered for the role of Luigi, but a string of recent box office failures dropped him from the running. They kicked Tom Hanks out of this movie.
I think it was what was it? It was just like he wasn't bankable as that kind of actor.
Right.
He was a comedy actor and they were looking for like a serious something.
I get, but then they put in John Leguizamo, who's doing comedy movies. It's so weird. I don't understand.
There's if you want to delve into it more. Oh, 1 second.
Yep, there you go. Get it out.
Yep. There's a great little documentary by the Game Historian.
Okay.
On YouTube.
I'll have to check that out.
That goes all over it.
The Game Historian on YouTube. I'm going to check that out after this.
It's great. Just Google Game Historian Super Mario Brothers movie. It's like a 30-minute documentary just about the insanity of the production on this. I think that's the other thing, why I like it so much is it's not just the movie.
Uh-huh.
I like it because of the insanity in the production of this movie.
Right. And everybody involved in this movie, I don't think anyone involved in this movie cared about it being a Mario Brothers movie.
No.
Everybody was like, we're going to take the ideas of Mario and throw them into and basically, I mean, they even are quoted as saying, we designed this film with the idea of looking at New York while on some mind-altering drugs.
Yeah.
They basically were like, what happens if we actually take mushrooms and are on a bad acid trip if we go down into the sewers? And that's what the Mario Brothers movie is.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And there's something horrifying about it. And I felt like I was trapped while I was watching this movie. And I came away and I was like, wow, they really did that, huh? They really went all in. There's my favorite scene from this movie, by the way, to try and put a button on this. I don't know if they'll have it on YouTube. We don't really need the audio for it if we still can't get the audio working. But there's a scene at the very end when they first go to New York after the worlds merge.
Yeah.
And it's Koopa's tower. I have no idea if you'll be able to find it. I might have to put this one in post. But it's if you search for something like God, because the immediate reference for me is they take the Twin Towers.
Oh yeah,
and they destroy the Twin Towers and they go and they become the Koopa Towers.
Yeah,
and I immediately thought that I was like, they just predicted 9/11 was done by Bowser in this movie. It's so it just doesn't make. It's because everybody's so blasé about this happening as it's going on too. Like the Twin Towers turn into ash in the movie, and everybody watching is like, man, they just can't stop self-promoting, huh? And the guy on the news is just like, oh, there's some wacky shit going on here. Oh, man, Channel 3, what do we do here? Who knows? I can't recommend this movie. I, in good conscience, cannot recommend that anybody actually watch this movie.
I can't.
But you should. If you can find it, go for it. There's a reason, but I think there's a reason why this isn't available. Like Mac and Me in the Room and Troll 2, you can find all of this stuff easily. Super Mario Brothers was hard to find.
Yeah.
Like Super Mario Brothers, I found a version of it that was re-released by Pathé, which is like a good indie distribution company who's releasing interesting, important movies. It's like a Criterion Collection. Like they need to re-release Super Mario Brothers. They need to be the ones to put this out there.
Yeah.
But God, I mean, I'm glad you brought this to me. Thank you for showing me this.
This is just entertaining just to watch
Thank
you
you for putting this
struggle
into my
with
life.
this.
It's such a struggle. I can't. I haven't done drugs in like 4 years, and I felt like I was having a bad acid trip. Like this is too like this, and I saw Climax earlier this year.
Yeah.
And Climax is another movie where you feel like you're on drugs after you watch the movie, and you feel like you just had a bad trip. And I was just sitting on my couch, like I have to. Man, I need a hug. Like I watched another movie for this for another episode I'm recording today after the fact, and I like didn't bring my cat in to hang out with me for that. And I needed like my cat to watch this movie with for therapeutic, just to be like, oh buddy, what have we gotten ourselves into? You and me.
I felt that way with a movie called Live Freaky, Die Freaky.
What is this?
All right, so it's a claymation movie. I forget the director. But it's a claymation movie about a claymation musical about the Manson murders. And it's voiced by punk rockers like Billy Joe Armstrong.
Okay.
Is Charles Manson in this?
Sure, why not?
I have never felt like I was on drugs more watching something than that movie. It's like I was on my friend's couch, huddled in like the fetal position. Is like, what is going on here?
I gotta find that movie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna track that down. Well, guys, if you feel like just losing your mind for about 2 hours, Super Mario Brothers, it'll do the job. And defend it all you want. I can't with this one. I tried. It's just too much. Yeah. It's overwhelming. But I appreciate that you brought it to me, Dan.
I feel like that's an endorsement. This movie's overwhelming.
That's definitely
it's an experience. It's a thrill ride.
It is. It's a thrill ride. It's cinema in its own way. Yep. Oh, here we go. We found it. Yep. Yep. Bowser did 9/11. That's the one.
Oh.
Koopa's Tower. Yep. Here we go.
And then that guy's kind of like Trump.
Oh, yeah. Scarfarelli or whatever his fucking name is. Like, he gets turned into a chimpanzee by the de-evolution ray.
I guess they made a monkey out of him.
God. Well, if anybody wants to find the other work that you've done instead of watching Super Mario Brothers, where can they do that?
All right. I do promise we do better work than this movie.
Yeah, Night Church has better production value than anything in Super Mario Brothers. And that's saying something because they really went all out in Super Mario Brothers.
You can follow my sketch team at Hail Night Church on Twitter, or find us on Facebook. Just follow me by name, Daniel Emmons on Twitter. That's usually where I spend most of my time, or you can check my photography out at Denny Lemons.
There you go. Check it all out. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. Join the Facebook group, sign up for the Patreon, tell a friend, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the drill. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.
Or see Mario Brothers.
But I was trying to do whatever the dead Mario sound effect is.
Dun,
Put
dun,
it in
dun,
a
dun,
post.
dun.
Dun, dun, but I can't. No.
Yeah.
I just feel like I ate poison mushrooms. Bye.